I'm joined in the studio today by Kosovo's Foreign Minister, Donica Gërvalla. Good morning, Donica. Thank you so much for joining us today on Inside Albania.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So I want to start sort of at what happened just after Sunday's incident. So the European Union came out with a statement. They didn't initially refer to what happened on Sunday as a terrorist attack. You reacted quite strongly to that. You criticised Borrell for this, quite rightly so. And then in a subsequent statement, they did call it a terrorist attack, which I was quite surprised at, but also quite happy about. From what I see, the US has not so far called it a terrorist attack. But what I want to understand from you is, what are the international community saying to you about the incidents on Sunday? Have you spoken to US colleagues about the terminology they're using as well? And do you think we could be seeing a shift in the way that the international community are looking towards Serbia, considering, I would say, and I'm sure you would agree, previously they've been a bit soft?
These are a lot of questions in one. So I will start with Sunday and would say incidents look different. It was a clear terrorist attack on Kosovo, on our sovereignty. It was an open aggression from the side of Serbia. And it was not a surprise for us, because we have seen the moves all these months. We have tried to talk to our partners, allies and friends so that they would help us to prevent such actions. So what happened on Sunday is sad because one police officer lost his life on duty. But what happened on Sunday is really no surprise at all for our institution. Maybe not the amount of weapons that have been found, maybe not the amount of the uniforms that have been found, but it was clear for us that Serbia is not interested at all in being active in a process of dialogue in Brussels, that they are acting to being interested and at the same time blocking every progress in this dialogue process so that they could continue with the other plans that they had. I hope and believe that Sunday has made clear for everybody that this kind of dialogue, this kind of one-sided, putting the pressure all on Kosovo and having so much understanding for the inability of Serbia to be positive on this process will end and should end. We hope, and yes, it's clear, Kosovo is not interested in having war with anyone, not with the neighborhood, so the answer can only be dialogue. But how this dialogue is designed is very crucial for the progress and for the success that we want to achieve.
But in terms of the US, who've not yet used, as far as I'm aware, so far the word terrorist when describing the incident, have you had dialogue with them about this, about pushing them to use this term, to call it what it is? Because this is key.
The ambassador of the United States to Kosovo has been the very clear voice at the morning of Sunday for telling everybody what is happening in Kosovo. I have seen no doubt in his voice and in his words. So the day before yesterday, there was the second statement of the same ambassador. And again, he has left no space of doubts. You are right, the first statement of Mr. Borrell was really a terrible one.
Yes.
You cannot ignore the facts and just put out a statement
Both
that
sides,
way.
etc.
And the problem is that it's not the first time that Mr. Borrell is doing that, or his team is doing that for him. So there are no both sides on Sunday. There are definitely no both sides. It was a clear attack on our state, on our country, and it should be named like that. I do not know how the terminology will develop, but I have a profound trust in our partners and friends that they will be able to name the developments of Sunday with the name that they deserve, and that we will enter in a different stage on looking where are the open doors to improve some kind of success in our regional cooperation and in having a better neighborhood that we have until now. Definitely, Sunday has changed for us everything.
Now, I want to talk a bit about the dialogue and the criticism that's been levied against Miroslav Lajčák and Joseph Borrell in particular, requests, calls for Lajčák in particular to be removed or replaced from his position due to bias, but also, and I believe this is key, whether he's biased or not is irrelevant. If one of the parties involved has lost confidence in a mediator, that should be enough. But having spoken to people in Brussels about this, and they've said, well, you know, Joseph Borrell is going to be replaced, possibly, you know, at the end of his mandate is in the spring, and then his replacement will choose Miroslav's replacement in 2025, so nothing's unlikely to change between now and then. And that makes me very concerned, because that gives us, you know, a minimum sort of 8 months, 9 months or so, in a system which is essentially frozen and where one of the key parties has lost trust. Then you add in the context of Sunday into this, and it becomes even more concerning. You know, I see the situation in Kosovo like a tinderbox. What are your thoughts on this? You know, you are pushing as well for Lajčák to be removed or replaced. In the context of Sunday, what happens now? Can we keep things under control until the end of the mandate?
The first and most important issue is security. We need to take care about security in our country. You have seen that the police of Kosovo and the institutions of Kosovo have shown Sunday that we are able, capable and professional in dealing with an attack like it was on Sunday. I'm very proud that not one single civil casualty has happened on day, and you can imagine by that amount of weapons for hundreds of people, it could be very, very easy to have incidents and casualties among the civil persons. So this is, our institutions have shown on Sunday that we want and we can be responsible for security in our country and to provide security for every single citizen of Kosovo, despite their religious or ethnical background. But you cannot, on the one side, say that this dialogue has failed, and Sunday was the last proof that the dialogue has failed. And at the same time, to try to continue business as usual. I'm not the person to tell the European Union, Brussels, or the member states of the European Union who are the persons that represent them in this process. But it is not the first time, it has not been the first time last week that Mr. Lajčák has shown non-having a strategy or a plan how to lead this dialogue, how to facilitate it. So that I believe that the member states will think about that. And I hope that we will have a process of dialogue that will be able and capable to bring progress. Continuing like in the past has shown really being not, because what can Kosovo do more? We have gotten proposal, French-German proposal, we have accepted that. We had our doubts about the content, but at the end we have said, okay, as a move between now and the mutual recognition, this can be a good way. Serbia has accepted verbally, but not done anything on that. And now it's strange that we are the only side sticking on implementation of that proposal, that agreement, that is really not what we wanted from the start. I still believe that only the mutual recognition, only when Serbia recognizes the reality in the Balkans, only when Serbia recognizes that the borders on the Balkans will not change anymore, only then it will be possible with Serbia to live as neighbors. Because I do not accept to become friends, but there are ways how we can have a live as neighbors without intervening in each other's internal affairs. What Serbia is doing not only with Kosovo, they are doing that with Bosnia and Herzegovina, they are doing that with Montenegro. So it is, if you see the 6 countries in the Western Balkans, 5 of them came out of the former Yugoslavia. And the problem is that even with the countries that Serbia has recognized, they are dealing like with territories who need to be brought back to Serbia again. And this is not a good, this does not promise a good future for our region. We need to do something about that.
This brings me on to the next question to do with the Association of Serb Municipalities. Obviously, this has been pushed for very much by the EU. It was agreed in 2013. It was then ruled unconstitutional in that form. It's very much being pushed for. But then when we see what happened on Sunday and the reports that they were essentially trying to seize control of the north of Kosovo, what context does this give now to this association? Because we had Vjosa Osmani saying, you know, we're ready to look at implementing it. It's got to be done in a constitutional way. But how can you now move forward with this after Sunday's events?
You see, Kosovo has the most progressive constitution with minority rights that you need to look in other European countries and would not find them. So we are able and we are ready to give our minorities the rights that the Constitution is reserving for them. And there is no doubt on that. But if something like this association that has been agreed 2013, 2015, and which was a clear violation of our Constitution, is the model to achieve those rights for the Serbs in Kosovo, I have my doubts. Because in every discussion with Belgrade, we do not see that they aim to make the life for our citizens in Kosovo who are Serb ethnicity, who have the Serbian background, to make the life better for them. It is always only about strengthening the influence of Belgrade over the institutions in Kosovo and over the citizens of Kosovo and their organizations, their municipalities in Kosovo. So that is not about civil rights, that is not about citizen and minority rights. That is that Belgrade is not ready and able to accept the new reality in the Balkans. We are ready to discuss with our citizens if there is a need on improving their rights on a certain way, then this is something that we need to think about. But 2015 was a clear violation of our constitutions, and you cannot ask a democratically elected government to violate their own constitution. So what we have discussed in Brussels, and what we have discussed with our partners as well, is that if there is a need to have some kind of, if you call that association or whatever, then there are some preconditions that this mechanism needs to fulfill. First of all, that can be nothing more than a coordinating role. And if you see the op-ed of Cholet and Escobar, there is very clear it is a coordinating role of this body, first. The second one is it cannot be a body that violates the constitution of Republic of Kosovo because it is in the territory of the Republic of Kosovo. And the third one is the functionality of the Republic of Kosovo cannot be violated. Because if you look to Republika Srpska in Bosnia and Herzegovina, you will see that it does not violate the constitution, but it makes Bosnia being a non-functional state. And we will not continue repeating the mistakes of the past. So it cannot be a body that violates the sovereignty of Kosovo. And if you look on Sunday, it has shown exactly what Serbia wants to have in Kosovo. It does not want to have something that is coordinating the needs of the Serbian citizens of Kosovo. It is something that can make the Republic of Kosovo implode from inside. And this will not happen. You cannot ask a government doing this having the experience of Bosnia-Herzegovina with Republika Srpska and having the experience of Serbia that has not changed since Milosevic. This is the problem, and we need to deal with the problem and not with the symptoms.
I've been trying to unpick it. How on earth did that amount of ammunition, armoured vehicles, personnel, and a plan of that type, how was it able to unfold under the nose of KFOR? What is their role there? Why were they not more aware of this? Should Interpol have had some awareness? Europol, you know, we know there's arms smuggling going on in this area as well. How did it get to this stage? Have you had some tough conversations with these stakeholders?
Since months, we are telling our partners and allies that, and we have had some of police actions in stopping vehicles which were full with arms. We had not the feeling that they were ready to listen to our concerns. Our feeling was that they wanted to interpret them for themselves as is we want to find a way out of the dialogue process, and not seeing that Kosovo was the only serious, the single serious party in this dialogue process interested to find a solution, not for the government, but for the future of the citizens. We're simply having a government which has won more than 50% in the last elections. And knowing that how important it is not to leave these issues to the next generation, you know that you have a duty, you have responsibility in solving the problems. But we have not been hurt, to be very honest. We had not, I had simply not the feeling that we are taken serious.
And just to say one thing, I've heard from sources in Brussels as well, on the condition of anonymity, that they think this as well.
Yes, I know.
Oh, they're just making a big scene out of it because they want to get out of the association, etc.
Yes.
So I've heard this as well.
Yes, that was my feeling as well. Nobody told it openly to me, but you see your counterpart is not really convinced on what you are saying. So this is point one. The second thing is that no one believed that the institutions of Kosovo, that the police of Kosovo can address these problems in a proper way. And Sunday has shown that it is the case. We are not afraid. We are prepared. You have seen that on Sunday. But we are very vigilant because we know that maybe it's not the first and the last.
Yes.
We know that Serbia, until they got a clear response from the international community, from important countries, for Serbia as well, they will not stop their attempts to destabilize not only Kosovo, but the other countries in the region as well. So it is very important in the next day, first of all, to have a very strong language in condemning the terror acts which were sponsored by Serbia. I don't believe that anyone has any more doubts that this came directly from Serbia.
Yes.
Directly from Serbia.
But shouldn't NATO be doing more? They're a peacekeeping force, and they did not keep the peace.
I don't believe that the foreign minister of the Republic of Kosovo is the person to discuss and analyze NATO. You know, in Kosovo, NATO is the organization that, because of our experience in the past and because of our security issues with the neighbor, the NATO is in the mind and in the heart of every one of our citizens. We have a support of more than 90% of our citizens do favor NATO membership and the EU membership. So I believe that NATO should show a signal towards the citizens of Kosovo in opening the door for Kosovo. A NATO membership of Kosovo is one of the most important steps that will make our region more peaceful and more stable. There are no ways on achieving this with Serbia only. The European and Euro-Atlantic path of Kosovo, and Kosovo, not only this government, all governments of Kosovo have had this orientation only to European Union. We have not made any experiments in this country here in Albania. You know the experiments with Open Balkans. We never had a doubt what our way is and our orientation. We never had an alternative to the European Union. Some of the politicians do comment this as something very naive, but we are very straight in telling what we want and what we do not want. And our way is a Euro-Atlantic way. So we need to make a step towards NATO, and NATO needs to make the structure of NATO a step towards Kosovo so that the whole region is not running into a new war. So now that we have seen what can happen and what will happen if we do not react, we expect the European Union to be clear and to take some measures, sanctioning both organizations who are declared as a terrorist organization in Kosovo and from where most of this terrorists on Sunday came from. Is very important doing that. Terrorist organizations should be labeled as that what they are. And it is very important not just to talk and to listen to the nuances, but to take the important steps so that Serbia will not come will not be again in the position believing that they can do an open aggression against a neighbor and not being facing consequences. Because if not Kosovo, look at Bosnia-Herzegovina, you see that Dodik is very active again. So everything is linked to Serbia, and we need to talk about Serbia in this situation and to be very clear.
I want to talk a bit about Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama. In the last yesterday and the day before, has been very, very vocal about what has happened, and he, for the first time, has defied, if you will, the foreign policy stance of the EU vis-à-vis the dialogue, which was quite a bold statement because, you know, in the past he sort of hovered between the two in many ways. This is very interesting that it's come from him at this point. What I want to understand from you is, do you think there should be more support coming from other countries in the region in terms of Kosovo? Do you feel there's anything missing there? And as Rama mentioned yesterday, maybe the dialogue should be sort of upgraded to a more regional sort of conference with a peace theme to it. Do you think this is something that Kosovo would consider as well?
I'm afraid when I hear conferences, because I'm reminded what happened in the 90s, from conference to conference to conference to conference, while the people in Bosnia-Herzegovina were dying. Yeah. So this is a very dangerous proposal. We do not need international conferences. We are sovereign states, and we need a process that is honest and sincere and that opens real ways and doors for Kosovo and Serbia to have the chance in normalizing their relations. So from my view, the international conferences are a question of the past, not of the present. We are now in a quite different situation, and the institutions of Kosovo have shown on Sunday again that they are able to provide security for all citizens, all of them, not only the more than 90% majority Albanians. So that's why I hope that not only Prime Minister Rama, but the others in the region as well, will be stronger in looking for real solutions and not for those who are so easy to say but who have not any impact on the ground. I was so happy that my Albanian counterpart, the new foreign minister of Albania and the Minister of Interior of Albania, have been participating in the funeral, attending the funeral in Kosovo for the killed police officer. And I believe that not only for the family and the institution, but for the citizens of Kosovo, his presence was very important, because we have no partner not only not in the region, but in the world that is closer to our hearts and minds than Albania. And the cooperation in the region, yes, but we have mechanisms for the cooperation in the region. We have the process of common regional market. We have different processes where we have tried all these years to let aside the bilateral problems with Serbia, so that while we are solving them in a different process in Brussels, we do not stop the regional cooperation. But even there, Serbia did not use one single opportunity to stop and to block these processes, and Kosovo in these processes. You see now, next week here will be the Berlin process continuation, the ministerial meeting. And we have signed 3 agreements. And one of the countries, Bosnia-Herzegovina, because of Dodik, not because of the federation, has not made a move on that. Why not ratified? Because then this would be an opportunity for citizens of Kosovo to travel free through the whole Balkans. So while Serbia has engaged with Kosovo last year in allowing to our citizens on both sides to travel with ID cards, now the way through Dodik has been used to block. So regional cooperation is very important for us all. Sometimes it's a good chance to overcome bilateral issues, but then you need to have the will on all sides, and we do not see that will. I am attending a lot of multilateral meetings where the Serbian counterpart is there, and it is really incredible how difficult it is to discuss simple issues from which all our citizens could benefit so much. So again, I do not want to misuse this Sunday, but we want to show that this is a point where everybody that wants to see what is happening in our region has a clear picture, not only for Kosovo, but for the whole region.
Donika, thank you very much.
I thank you.